Now that we have a deeper understanding of the 5 levels of change and the science and the mechanisms of the subconscious mind, we can start looking at what are really limiting beliefs. How do they form and what can we do about them? And lastly, how do we connect that to the story of you and where you are today? Limiting beliefs, I love to see them as weeds in a field. And if we try to pluck those weeds, we will realize that those weeds maybe had hundreds of little roots that we also have to pluck out, right? Because if we just pluck out the weed, but the roots of the weed are still there, that weed is going to grow again and again. So the roots of that weed are any associated imbalance related to that limiting belief. Let me give you a real life example on something that is really common that I see all the time. One of the most common ones is the belief of I am alone. This limiting belief is like the weed. And from that limiting belief that you're alone, you start to affect yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. If I have a limiting belief that I am alone, then as a result of that belief, I'm going to believe that I'm separate from life and that I don't have any support and that I have to do everything on my own and that I always have to carry a heavy burden on my shoulder. Perhaps I have rules or shoulds or musts that I can't trust other people, or that I am a victim of life because I believe that I'm alone. And so I don't ask for help. I tend to be very reserved, and maybe I tell people that I'm an introvert. And so you can start to connect the dots and see how a deep-seated limiting belief, such as I am alone, can create so many ripple effects in our lives. So I want you to imagine that every single limiting belief that is stored in our subconscious mind is like an outdated program or software that we need to update. The same way that we need to consistently update applications in our phone so that they don't get buggy or glitchy and they stop working or they crash. We also need to upgrade the beliefs that we have inside us. That is why subconscious reprogramming work is the most powerful work that allows you to experience transformation, because you're going to the central hub, the storage of all of your knowledge, values, and core beliefs. Something really interesting that I've discovered with years of studying this is that there is also a connection to our energy, to our subtle body that I explained in an episode before. And I've noticed that certain limiting beliefs get attracted to different parts of the body. For example, the limiting belief, I am alone, which is like a program, a formula that it's operating 24/7, it's emitting that frequency within you and outside of you. That limiting belief of I am alone tends to be stored in the crown, in the top of the head, because energetically speaking, that is the energy center or the organ who's in charge of that psychological function of your connection to the universe or to your connection to something higher than yourself or spiritually. And so different limiting beliefs get stored in different energy centers. I'm going to give you the rundown of the 7 main ones. At the level of the energy organ of the root chakra, there is a limiting belief that says, I am not safe. As you go upwards into the sacral chakra, limiting beliefs about unworthiness get stored inside of it. I am unworthy, or I am not good enough. Then as we go higher, we go into the solar plexus, which holds a limiting belief that I am powerless. As we go higher into the heart, we store limiting beliefs that say I am unlovable. Then as we go higher into the throat, we have a limiting belief that I can't express my truth. As we go higher into the sixth chakra, or the third eye, we have a limiting core belief that says, I am bad. And finally, in the crown, we have a limiting belief that says, I am alone. And with this understanding of how limiting beliefs connect to our subtle body and our subconscious mind, everything starts to make sense and everything starts to click.